They sold you a razor for $1. Then they sold you. In March 2012, a man called Michael Dubin put a video on the internet. He walks through a warehouse. He says the big razor brands are robbing you. He says his blades cost $1. 29 million people have now watched it. The offer was on their own home page for years. $1 a month plus $2 shipping. $6 a month if you wanted 4 blades. $9 for the fancy one. A handle arrived, then blades in the post. You never stood in a pharmacy again. And he was right. Buying razors was miserable. Years later, the American competition regulator put it in a legal filing. Razor makers, it wrote, enjoyed exceptionally high margins while consumers suffered. A margin is what is left after costs. Theirs was huge. In December 2015, Gillette sued them for patent infringement in Delaware. 8 months later, Unilever bought them. The press said $1 billion in cash. Unilever has never put that number in a filing, so I will not say it as a fact. The date is in the filing. The 10th of August, 2016. Here is the trick, and it is very old. Think of a cafe that gives you the cup for free. The cup is not the business. The refill is. Dollar Shave Club gave you a handle for $1. The blades were the business. And the handle only takes their blades, which is the second half of the trick. Remember the handle. It comes back at the end, and it is the part that actually hurts. A subscription just means the money leaves your account on its own. You do not choose again each month. You chose once in 2012, and the club kept the door open. That steady money is worth a fortune. It is also the thing that gets abused. Unilever knew what it was buying. It wrote it down in its own yearly report for 2016. A direct-to-consumer model, it said, where we will preserve its entrepreneurial approach. Preserve. That is their word, not mine. Hold on to it. This whole trial is about that word. And for a while it worked. The same report says the direct-to-consumer business grew 47% that year, mainly because of the club. Online selling across all of Unilever grew 49%. The bet looked brilliant. Nobody was wrong yet. So the charge is not that Unilever bought a bad company. The charge is what happened to a good one. The defense goes first. It is much stronger than you think. First, the club was not making money. It grew by spending. Somebody had to turn it into a real business. Second, the club sold online and almost nowhere else. In February 2020, the American regulator described it in a filing. Dollar Shave Club razors, it wrote, are generally not available in brick-and-mortar retail stores. That is 3.5 years after the sale. Still no shelf. Because a rival got there first. Harry's was started by Jeff Rader and Andy Katz Mayfield. In August 2016, it launched in Target, priced several dollars under the big brands. That is the same month the club became Unilever's. One got the shelf. The other got a parent company. Third, the giants fought back. For over a decade, Gillette led yearly price rises and Skick followed. The regulator called it a once stable duopoly. 2 firms, comfortable taking turns. Then it stopped. In April 2017, Gillette's owner told investors its shaving sales fell on reduced pricing and competitive impacts in the US. Fourth, Edgewell owned Skick. Its chief executive at the time was asked about the shave clubs on an earnings call. The regulator put his answer in the filing. The jury's out, he said. They would have to become more than a shave club to really survive. Fifth, and this is the fair one, almost every mail-order brand of that era is dead. The model ran on cheap advertising that stopped being cheap. Unilever kept the club alive and, in its own words, marginally profitable through the years that buried the rest. That is the defense, and most of it is true. Now the objection. I want to make it properly, because it is the best argument against everything I am about to say. Maybe Unilever did not ruin the club. Maybe there was never a club there to ruin. The dollar razor was not a business. It was an advertisement you could hold in your hand. The filing says the arrival of Dollar Shave Club and Harry's online did not stop the price rises at Gillette and Skick. Read that again. The revolution everybody remembers did not move the price of a razor. So on this reading, the only real mistake was made by the buyer in 2016. Because the same filing answers it. Harry's leap into shops in 2016 is what broke more than a decade of routine price rises, not the websites, the shelf. And in 2019, Gillette's owner took an $8 billion charge on the shaving business. $8 billion. To be fair to them, they blamed the currency first, then a shrinking market, then competition. But nobody takes a charge that size on a business that is winning. The revolution landed. The club was just standing in the wrong place when it did. Exhibit 1. That word, preserve. In November 2023, the club got a new boss, Larry Bodner. 2 years later, he described what he had been handed. They neutered the voice of the brand, he said. They tried to make it too corporate. And he finishes the thought. And when you do that, he says, you lose the consumer. That is the man running the company, talking about the owner that promised to preserve it. Not a critic. Not me. Him. Exhibit 2. In February 2023, Unilever published its results. One sentence, down in the personal care section. Sales of Dollar Shave Club declined during the year, and an impairment charge was recognized. An impairment charge is a company admitting on paper that something it owns is worth less than it paid. The number is in Note 9. The carrying value of the club, it says, exceeded its recoverable amount. 192 million euros gone. Call it $200 million. Now remember what this company was famous for. That is $200 million $1 razors, written off in a footnote. Because beside it, Unilever describes the club like this. Dollar Shave Club, whilst marginally profitable, continued to decline in a competitive market. Continued. That is the company writing about the business it bought to learn from. Not one bad quarter. 6 years. Exhibit 3. On the 26th of October 2023, Unilever told the market it was selling. It kept 35%. It named the buyer, a private equity firm called Nexus Capital Management. The sale closed on the 1st of November. It never named a price. Unilever sold exactly 2 businesses in 2023. A shampoo brand called Suave and the club. The yearly report says Suave alone sold for 592 million euros. Then, in the same note, the total for everything sold that year. 578 million euros. Exhibit 4. Remember the handle. The club built its own factory and its own new razor. Then it put this on its help page. Our club razors are not compatible with our Heritage or Humble twin handles. Heritage was the old 4-blade and the Executive. Those are the ones people joined for. So the new blades will not go on the old handle. Fine. Companies change parts. Here is the next help page. We have discontinued the Heritage series blades and handles, and they are no longer available for purchase. We apologize for any inconvenience. So the handle on your shelf still works. There is just nothing left to put in it. If you want to know how these deals end, subscribe. We are new, one of these every week. And the dollar. On their own shop page today, a pack of Humble twin blades is $6. The 4-blade is $8.50. The 6-blade is $10. Now, those are one-off shop prices, not the old monthly plan, so hold them loosely. I'm not going to sell you a number I cannot prove. But the club named after a dollar does not sell much for a dollar anymore. That part nobody argues with. Not Michael Dubin. He built it and sold it, which is what founders do. He stepped down in 2021. Inside a company with hundreds of brands, the club was a rounding error with a very loud voice. The loud voice was the whole asset. It was also the first thing to go. Time to rule.
Here is my ruling. On the charge of killing Dollar Shave Club, Unilever is not guilty. The club was a marketing idea with a subscription bolted on. The shelf war was already lost in the same month they signed the papers, and the people who won it did it from a shop, not a website. I have run international markets for 17 years. You do not fix that by owning it harder. But on the charge of breaking a promise, guilty. They printed the word preserve in their own annual report, in front of shareholders. Then they spent 7 years measuring a small loud brand against a portfolio of giants, wrote it down by 192 million euros, and sold it without ever saying the price. Nobody killed this club. It died of being owned. And there is a rule in here you can actually use. When a big company buys a small loud one, go and read what the buyer promises in writing. Then read the same document 3 years later. The gap between those 2 pages is the whole story, every time. Next time on Business on Trial, the brand that got bought kept its name and quietly stopped being made in the country printed on the box.